So this is a cade aquarium, which is predominantly full of African cichlids, and it's got a protein skimmer on it, which never hurts because the Venturi isn't working at the moment, but it's just going to be a nice glorified oxygen reactor. And this Severum is 5 years old. And so there's another one in here too, apparently. Oh, and Synspilum in here. Oh, there it is. Oh, so there's not another Severum in here. And how old are most of these cichlids?
I don't know. I put them this few weeks ago actually. So it came from both Majestic and First Row.
Cool.
I lost a few of them actually. They just disappeared. Probably just, I don't know, fighting or something.
Yeah, well, whenever you do, no, but I would imagine it's because your surface was too flat. And the other thing you've got to really watch too is you've got to let oxygen in. Because see, what you got to be very careful of these things. You said you only put on at night, right?
No, it's 24/7.
Yeah, but you see,
yes, but
see
I
this.
guess these bubbles which from water drops.
No, very bad idea. Now hear me out, right? See, because all this here, oxygen can't get in. Maybe a little tiny bit where not really much. Not much oxygen can get in this. Now the other thing that you need to know is that oxygen here, it's not oxygen because the water goes down, no oxygen, then it goes into here and it goes past all these bioballs, and in these bioballs you're going to grow billions of bacteria. Then these bacteria is going to suck all the oxygen out of the water. Then when it goes back here again, the water out of the filter is often in oxygen deficit.
Right.
So you're never getting enough oxygen. And the problem is if your oxygen level falls, then your redox potential falls, and then your bacteria works very slow. And if your bacteria works slow,
You get ammonia.
you get, not necessarily, no. If it's really bad, you get ammonia. But what happens is your bacteria works slow, and then that means you grow more bacteria, and then you grow more bacteria, and that sucks out more oxygen. So you end up with a dissolved oxygen issue. And then what that does is limit the capacity of your system. So my advice, go and drill lots of drill holes in here.
So water agitation probably helps, right?
Water agitation helps a lot because the water agitation here is only there because we just fixed it. Because obviously that was aiming down. But the fact you've now got good water agitation makes a massive difference. But I'd be wanting to make sure that there more air can go. Just drill a whole bunch of holes in the top,
Right.
and then I'd be happy. And now, but you got to make sure that's agitating, because if that's aiming down and all your surface is flat, you have no gas exchange. And then down here, all your surface is flat, no gas exchange. You've got the skimmer, which isn't bubbling at the moment, so that's not doing gas exchange either. And then you've got a yeah. Well, it does. If you turn it on, it'll make bubble. It won't make It won't make absorbate. And then just be careful. This too. See, it's just going straight over the side when it's super dirty. Like I hate socks. I hate socks.
Oh, in general?
I hate filter socks because they're always like that. They're so dirty, and they're a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah.
I'd rather run it just relying on polyfilter or something that's easier to clean, because I find it only takes like a few days and then all it starts flowing over the top.
It doesn't really, water flows over it. It doesn't really.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of filter socks. I don't like filter socks. Yeah, so I think you'll find the redox potential in here is a little bit low. So
that could be why I lost my marine fish for a few years.
Oh, totally. It'd be totally related. So I want very good surface agitation. I want to be able to let the oxygen get in. And then I want to...
Leave it a bit up and get some bubbles as well.
Why not? Yeah, get bubbles. Get bubbles or... And I'd want more surface agitation. I'd want more than just that. That's minimum. And what are you feeding them? They are pretty fat.
Fat?
Yes.
A bit of everything, like your stuff like dairy, but also flakes and
Yeah, well, try to focus on Danichi because it's slow cooked. I'm really not a fan of flakes because I only feed flakes if my fish won't eat anything else if I've got a fussy one, because the flakes are so heavily processed that it ends up being cardboard in a can.
Yeah, I also give some nori sometimes.
Yeah, nori, I wouldn't be feeding them much nori. A little bit's okay, but they can't really digest it all that well. And it's a little bit's okay, but I'd be mainly feeding them Danichi, and then I also like Spectrum's probiotics because I like how clean it is, and I like the way.
I learned that the Malawian mbunos actually the herbivores, right?
The what?
The mbunos, they designed to eat algae.
Okay, so all in all, that's bullshit, and the reason why that's bullshit is they eat the owl switch. So what they're actually doing is a lot of them comb, and they eat algae, but in the algae, particularly of Lake Malawi, is completely crawling with microorganisms.
Right.
So they're eating the algae, but actually a lot of the nutrients they're getting is all of the microorganisms, the little invertebrates and little worms and things that are in the owl switch. So they're really omnivores. So if you feed like quality foods like Danichi or Spectrum, and just feed your fish a bit less because they're just a little bit on the fat side.
Okay.
And see the way they're doing a lot of flicking? It's saying they're not very comfortable. So I'd probably hit them with a dose of, I'd get the agitation fixed. That should get your redox potential and dissolved oxygen level up. And then I'd probably hit them with a white spot cure as well, just because they're a bit flicky.
A white spot cure?
A white spot cure. Because looking at them, they're pretty fat and their immune system's I'm seeing a bit of flicky, scratchy business going on. So if this was my tank, I'd probably hit them with a bit of white spot cure too. And temperature, the heater's saying the right thing. The temperature looks pretty okay. That's all good. So I'd be wanting to just reduce their food a little bit.
Okay. Increase
the water flow a little bit. Increase surface agitation a little bit. I'd get rid of the filter sock and put polyfilter in. There is some bubbles in the skimmer, but not much. That's sort of cool. You've got that. And it should be an awesome tank. It's very nearly awesome.